Howdy guys and girls, welcome back to Harper's Shed. My name's Tim. Today in the shed we're going to start some wiring on the FC RX7. Fingers crossed we can get this thing to make some noise today. Righto, part of today's project, to try and get this thing in a position where it might even make some noise, we've got to reinstall the Microtech MT8 computer. We're going to get the upper intake manifold back on, but before I do that I want to convert the throttle position sensor from just a single point, so a straight open or close throttle position signal, to the Series 5, I believe, full range throttle position sensor. So this unit in here with the cam, it allows the computer to know all the way across the throttle position, through the full range of the throttle movement where it is. Whereas the style that's on it at the moment, it will only tell it when the throttle blade is closed, and then as soon as the throttle blade comes open, it goes into an open state on the switch, and then the map sensor takes over. From the research I did, the MT8 will function a little bit more smoothly if it can have a full throttle position signal across the range in order to determine the engine load. So it'll use the map sensor and throttle position sensor and cross-reference and determine engine load, as well as RPM, and it'll sort out its fueling from there. In order to get to a state where we might have some spark, I'm going to have to reassemble the trailing coils. So that's the driver module, if that's the right name. And I've got coils. I will ohm them out and just make sure that they're good before I go throwing them on so I don't chase my tail. I'm going to reassemble the componentry down here. So again, I'm going to ohm out the leading coil and just make sure it's good. I was told it was good by the previous owner, but I'm just going to ohm it anyway, just for my own knowledge. Yeah, previously I did state that I was going to put the computer in behind the glove box, which I will eventually, but I think I'm a bit impatient and I really just want to hear this thing make some noise. So I'm going to just loosely lay it back over the guard and see if we can get it to kick. Once I can get it to start and run and I know that it's going to function, then I'll worry about relocating it properly and harnessing up the wires and everything. The only other things left to do are the oil feed for the turbo, and for now I'm going to blank off the water inlet for the turbo. That way I don't have to worry about the water return, because I don't have the banjo for that, and that'll just sort of neaten things up a bit. So anyway, I might set a time lapse up for you and you can keep an eye on what I'm doing. But yeah, first cap, I'm going to try and swap out the throttle position sensor. So here we go. Welcome back, guys and girls. Welcome to the next day. I got a bit sidetracked yesterday, and we made some progress. Still not quite there yet. The wiring sort of took a little bit of a back seat. So what I did is I decided to figure out the oil for the turbo, and in doing so I discovered that I have no oil pressure now that I can spin the engine over. Now, the current setup is not ideal, but it is working. So as you can see, we put a fair bit back together. As far as the oil pressure situation goes, I was cranking and trying to see oil coming out of this fitting here, tracing it back through a spare set of plates I've got. It should come straight out of there, and it wasn't. So I ended up pulling the front cover back off again. I didn't bother filming it because you've already seen it once, and pulling the oil pump drive gear off and spinning the oil pump with a battery drill just to see if I would get oil pressure. And I did, but it wasn't fantastic. So what I did is I went to another front plate that I had, front iron, and I pulled the oil pump off that. Now that front iron is actually a factory turbo iron front plate, and the oil pump off it, I didn't know, but is a much higher volume pump. That's the old pump off the front of mine, which is an NA pump. Now the gears inside are a much lower capacity, so they're shorter than what the turbo pump is. In short, I put the turbo pump back on. I pre-primed that with some engine assembly lube, just to create a good vacuum on fire up and then or on turnover. Put it back in, hit the key, and oil come a shooting everywhere. So that solved my oiling issue, and that's good because I was worried. I was very close to just pulling the engine out, but now ignore the fact it's already up. We're building oil pressure. I don't know why the gauge is already up there, but it moves with the key. So, and we've got no oil leaks, which is good, that I can see anyway. We'll know more when we do get fired up. To bring you a bit more up to speed on everything else, I sat the Microtech back on the side, and I've started to trace the wiring. Now, most of the wiring was correct. There's a couple of different diagrams, and I ended up finding the one that lined up with a Series 4 and a version 2 Microtech. I was originally working off the wrong one, but I finished the conversion to the full sweep throttle position sensor. So it'll tell the Microtech throttle position all the way across the range, which is good. I put the crank angle sensor back in where the manual tells me to put it. As I said, I won't really be able to check that until I can run it with a timing light on the pulley. So next step is to get the coils sorted back together again, and then try and trace some more of the wiring off the Microtech. As I said, I really just want to make this thing run, and then I'm going to worry about finishing it up. So I will get the coils sorted, mount them up, get some wiring for the Microtech sorted, hopefully mount that up, and then I'm going to check for spark. And if I've got spark, I do actually want to fire the fuel pump up and try and drain whatever's in the tank, because that fuel will be at least, I think, probably 6 or 7 years old. So it's not going to burn, it's not going to run on that. I will mix up some fresh fuel. Because I deleted the oil metering pump, I do now have to run premix, which I'm not worried about. At least I can monitor it. So I'll mix up some of that and put that in the tank and see how we go. I'm going to get spark first, and then I'll worry about that though. Okay, let's get after some spark. Of you didn't pull me up on that. I did that wrong. So looking at the book, which is not amazingly helpful, it's leading side, trailing. So if it sits like that, then they are supposed to be. So this one here, she's wrong. did think it looked a bit funny with the standoffs on that side and not on the other, so that's alright. We learn. I did ohm these out and they fall into just inside of what the manual says. So, well, good enough for me anyway, good enough to see if it runs. That looks like it might fit better. I went to install it in the car and it didn't fit. Physically hit up against the shock tower, so anyway, live and learn. That's what we're going to do. I have mentioned before, I haven't worked on one of these, so everything's new. Alright, let me get this happening. Get it in the car. Put the wires on and then get it in the car. And as I'm sure anybody who knows what they're looking at, not me, will realise that that's in the wrong spot. So this is the leading coils, and I just assumed that that's where they belonged. Yeah, they don't. Get the battery out of there and give me some room. So that spot up there is reserved for trailing coils. There you go. I didn't know that. I did think it was a little bit sort of just not right, but you don't know what you don't know, I suppose, and I didn't know. So we're going to bolt that one in there. I'm going to clean some grounds up first. Let's get a wire brush. Oh, didn't find my wire brush, but I do have some coarse envy. Decent actually. I'm going to assume that they will earth out the body as well, so clean it up alright first. Now, you may notice that I don't actually have the wires with coils on. It's because I don't have the nuts. So I'm going to have to do some digging and see if I can find some nuts that fit. Now, the leading coil pack actually goes down here. Thank you, Dr. Google, for that. The manual doesn't have a particularly good... Oh, hang on, I might be still wrong. I might have got carried away. So, the leading coil pack doesn't go there. Well, where do you go? You sort of line up. Oh, hang on. There we go. That's a bit more gooder. Alright, let's run that. Definitely gonna have to clean up. Car alarm's going off. Let's clean that surface up. Get a bit of ground happening. Get it back to some steel. So, is it right? Probably not. Let's put you in there, and we might check back with the manual, see what we can figure out. I haven't put the multimeter on this coil yet. I think I will. Mind you, it's not going to make any difference because I don't have another one. So if it doesn't work, it's not like I've got something I can swap it out with. Alright, I'm going to check with the manual, see if that is where that's supposed to go. I mean, 3 out of 4 bolts line up, so that's got to be enough, right? But I'll check and we'll get back Try and figure out where the factory fuse already used to sit. This bracket looks like it's been a bit unhappy. Alright, leave it with me. I'm going to confer with the manual. Try and get some sense out of this. Bring you back when I go a bit more further ahead. Righto, moment of truth. I've got most of it wired up as much as I can, I suppose. You know, it's rough. No two ways about it. There's wires that are not real good. I haven't really tested for spark. The hand controller tells me things are working. So, I don't have the fuel pump hooked up. I haven't turned the key yet to see if I have spark or confirm spark. Good way to confirm spark. Put something flammable down it. So, I'm going to give it a very small spray of brake clean, and we're going to find out if this thing does anything. Well, that wasn't fun. Let me bring the idle up a little bit. Right. Let's see if the hand controller is telling me anything. Nothing I didn't already know. We'll give it a little bit more. Just that much. Certainly not too much. Let's see if we get any cough out of it. Alright. I'm tipping we still don't have spark for some reason. Let's take a step back, have a look. I'll pull a plug and a lead. And I suppose I'll pull number one primary. Number one leading, rather. And we'll see how we go. It certainly didn't sound like it had any spark, that was for sure. No kick, no nothing. Okay. Leave with me. I'll set up a test and I'll bring you back. Right, so here's the setup. I have a spare crank angle sensor from the other engine plugged in, and the coil, the plug which is on leading at a number one, so it's just sitting on the negative post of the battery, and I got spark, and I have an ignition pickup. Winning. I have a lot of spark. Okay, well, I think we might need to just be a little bit more heavy-handed with the flammable stuff then. Huh. Righto. Let's go. This is going to get a bit interesting now. Alright, now we know we've got spark. As before, I'm going to throw some brake cleaner down there. Maybe a bit more this time. And we'll see what happens. Still nothing. Alright. I think it might be time to get the timing light out and make sure that we've got somewhere near the correct timing. And we're trying again. smells like a whole lot more like it wants to run.
That's a lot nicer.
Alright, let's get some actual petrol. Try and put some actual petrol up its gullet.
I don't know what hit it.
Ready when you are.
Computer is on.
Yep. There, I think I might have. It's very close.
Ooh, it is.
It does want to. Don't know. We'll go the other way with the timing.
You were better before, yeah.
I don't know. I reckon I might be. Oh, that lead's kind of warm. Go one more.
Alright.
Then we'll give up.
She's close.
That really wants to. Yeah. Get a little bit more throttle blade.
She's almost there.
Alright, I think it might be time to call it, and we will get some injectors hooked up. Get some actual fuel pump up it, and we'll go from there.
Right.
Alright, we're going to leave it there. Kicks, but yeah, not quite enough to fire. So I think instead of just being silly and cranking on it and killing a starter motor, I'll go through my wiring again, even though I think it's right. I think the timing must be fairly close. I did check it with the timing light and it seems where it should be. I think probably next step from here is to sort out the fuel pump wiring and drain the tank of any old crap that's in it, put fresh premix back in, and then start from scratch. So try and get the injectors themselves firing, try and determine whether the computer is telling them to fire, and seeing if we can get it to run off the pump that's in the car. Obviously me just spraying crap down the intake is there's not enough. So I think that's about where I'm up to now. So I'll leave you with that, and we'll catch you next time.